Hello, hello, everybody. This is Thea from That Sweet Tea Life. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm going to get on here and drop that in there and pin it to the top, maybe. Let me know if you are in here and if you're tuning in so that I know that everything is working. Crossing my... Ah, Joe! Hey, it's good to see you. Oh, hello, my love. Hello, Dixie Belle. Finally. Hello, Deborah. Okay, so it's good to hear from you guys. All right, so I feel like it's been forever. I had decided I wanted to do the Thursdays with Thea at 3 thing. I thought that would be a whole lot of fun and commit me to really getting to know you guys and helping you out and serving you better because I'm here weekly. But then 4th of July happened and, you know, everybody takes vacations, but we're here. We've made it. So my name is Thea. I'm from That Sweet Tea Life. I'm a blogger, and I'm here to serve you. I'm so super blessed and lucky that Dixie Belle has allowed me to be one of their brand ambassadors. And so, yeah, I have been busy experimenting and playing and learning about the products, new as I'm sure a lot of you are to a lot of the products. And trying to do my best to bring those things to you. Hey, Callie, good to see you. Yay! I'm so glad everything is working. Hey, Betty. Gotta tell you, hey, you're always such a great fan. So supportive. We appreciate you. Hey, Lynn. Okay, so I should probably get to it because you're not here to just listen to me jibber jabber, right? So I'm going to pull my camera down to let you take a look at what we have going on. So over here, let's move that. Over here, we have this purple thing happening. A lot of you got to tune in to watch me take care of this guy. And it took a lot of changes, and so did this one. What happened was, this was a piece that I was working on artistically. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, a client, also dropped off this piece to go in her daughter's room. Well, I start working on this one and she says, hey, I want that one and I want this one to match it. So what I decided to do was come up with a plan, do the whole thing so you can see what it looks like. And now we get to replicate it together over here. This is going to be a large mixture of blendy, watercolory goodness. And we have got Lucky Lavender, which you can see here. This is just Lucky Lavender, and that's going to be our base coat. Some of you may remember it being red, white, blue. It was a lot of different things before now. This is the end result. That happens sometimes. But this is Lucky Lavender as the base, and then we washed over the Lucky Lavender and blended in some Plum Crazy. Why don't I grab those so you can see them? And I'll grab this one too. So, Lucky Lavender, pretty, perfect little lavender color, nice and light. And what's crazy, like this container is what I have used to paint this one twice because I painted it, blended it, and then repainted it again for my base color because we changed ideas and stuff. And she said, oh, I want that. So, okay, painted this guy twice with that, and also painted this whole thing with this same container. So it's gone really, really far. Then paired with that, a lot of the shading and stuff that you see in the washes are Plum Crazy. Oh yeah, I'm glad y'all can see everything correctly because for me, my image is completely backwards, which messes me all up. Left is right, right is left. And then a lot of the darker areas where you can see a little bit more saturation of the purple, that's me going over it with Amethyst. And should I bring you in even closer? I should. Let's see. So you may notice here and down here, it's much more evident in person, of course. Yep, up here, those are going to be where I hit it with one of those flea market decor colors. Can y'all hear me okay? I've got the headphones on, so hopefully no matter which way I turn and what I do, you will still see me. That's going to be the flea market decor golden years. Funny story, since I started using it, I've been calling it goldenrod. It is not goldenrod, it is golden years. Goldenrod was my favorite yellow whenever I was like itty bitty and, you know, coloring in my Wizard of Oz coloring book, and the yellow brick road had to be goldenrod, golden years. So I'm looking over here. Thank you, Dixie Belle, for listing all of the colors. Y'all are awesome. Hey, Susan, my sweet friend. Thank you. Lynn, what is Lynn's favorite color? Is she a purple girl or is it that golden years? While I am at it, I always forget to do some of these things that I always think to do. I need a list. I need an assistant. An assistant would be amazing. Assistant, you're right. If you are tuning in and you are a Dixie Belle retailer, please drop your information, tag your page so that everybody can tune into you. Or if you've got a favorite retailer, even better, that you normally purchase from, please drop that below too. I love to get to everybody to kind of connect. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know who your favorite retailer is and where they're located. If you are a retailer, share your page and where you're located. Thank you, Alice. Okay, and then I'll also let you see, this wasn't gonna be part of it, but a lot of people had asked me, like, because I don't take the drawers out whenever I'm painting, right? That's always a question. Girl, come on, Gina. Come on over. I would love it. Crystal from my Repurposed Life SC, are you in South Carolina? If you do the URL, it works a little bit better. It may not populate right now, but later on, whenever the live is over, your page will actually populate and make it easier for people to find you. So I left everything in, and I happen to know that this particular client loves the mix of, and you can't see my face, but it's fine because you're here to see the furniture, right? I know she loves a little bit of rustic with her glam and pretties and stuff. So what I did was I painted everything as it is. I left all of the drawer work until after I was done. When I was done, I decided to come back. And of course I used Mama's butter on everything to give it a good seal, as well as just enrich that wood and give it a beautiful tone because it was super dry. But then also, like, I took my orbital sander and I just really cleaned up everything. It's kind of hard. There we go. If you do that after you're finished, I left that because I don't know. I kind of like that kind of stuff. I love seeing the old mixed in. So that's the little indentation. I left a little bit of the white in there, and you'll see there's like red and blue, but that's part of the history. But if you go to those flat surfaces with your orbital, or better yet, your surf prep sander, it just gives it a really nice clean finish. And so I rub all of the edges also with Mama's butter. And y'all, this is one of those pieces that I didn't know if I was ever going to finish it. I thought I was going to be in the fetal position because all of the drawers were sticking. It was just a swollen, nasty mess. I knew I couldn't add any paint to those little crevices because that would just make it even worse. But hitting it with the butter, B&B, y'all, I'm going to call it B&B because I always feel like I'm trying to put the hard R on butter because that's how I say butter, but it's called butter. B&B. I'm going to call it B&B. So I hit it with the B&B. I hit all of these edges as well as these gliding points. Some of you may have seen the video that I did with the B&B, and I just, that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I just spent one day and just kind of did the whole thing, enjoyed the process, the sanding, the getting it all just, I mean, look at that. This thing is old, really old, and it didn't want to move at all. Yes, ma'am, those were my favorite. Purple is my favorite color. Love this piece. Thank you so much. Girl, I'm dying for a surf prep too. Saving pennies. All right. So that's the story with the BMB. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I'll tune you in down here. Let's see if you can still see. Down here, this wasn't going to be a focal point, so I didn't set up my video to really do this, but you can see where I used the Prima, the adhesive transfers, and then hit it with the gold foil. And this is where you're going to find the Gulf, right around here. And over that, I also hit it with the that Prima wax diamond dust. That's what it was. And then just distressed everything back, bringing back through a little bit of that old red and the wood and all that kind of stuff to give it some more rustic kind of vibe. All right, so how about we do some painting? Yeah. How hot is it where you're at? I think we're probably in the 90s. If not, it feels like it. It's not quite as humid as it normally is around here this time of day. Betty, thank you so much. You're always such a sweet sharer. Big Mama's Bottle by Dixie Belle. Yes, I love it. Personally, I don't know what y'all think y'all's favorite is, but I love the Orange Grove. It reminds me of creamsicles and it makes me happy. I'm gonna get that piece of trash. I've been working in my garage all day long, and all I'm gonna say is you should be happy that there is not smell-o-vision. Yep, I'm gonna leave that right there. Okay, so let's come over here. I'm gonna angle you so that you can see my purple painted lady. 95 degrees. Where are you at, Ellen? With your 95 degrees. 91 in New York. Heavens, it's supposed to be like colder there, right? I don't know. It's a spider. Okay, so I've got my purple piece, and it's already got a good base coat. I will tell you, one of the best things that you can do for your blending is start with a base color. Whether it's your lightest color, whether it's your darkest color, whether it's a medium color, all of them have a different effect. Be willing to play and figure out what you enjoy. This is my lighter color for the blending purposes. And it allows that grip. It gives you the opacity that you want to really start building up the layers. Otherwise, you're kind of fighting covering and blending at the same time. And who wants to try and fight both of those battles? Lake City, South Carolina. Yes. So yeah, we have a little bit of a breeze, and hey, it's 3 o'clock, so you know, the sun's not completely beating down, but Lake City, how far? I know I've asked this before, but how far are you from Somerville? I should know this, right? Right. All right, so I've got my water bottle. One thing, or number one thing about blending is making sure you have got plenty of moisture to keep everything moving. I know y'all know this. How many times have we watched blending now? So that's going to be the first thing. I start with misting my surface. And like I said, it's hot. So we'll see just how, you know, friendly this whole process is. Janie says it's humid as Hades. Okay, I'm going to play advocate here and say, I don't think Hades is all that humid. Not that I want to find out. However, Hades probably ain't all that humid. 82 in New York, 85 in Florida. About an hour south of Florence. Okay, got it. I know where Florence is. I'm trying to think if we were, I'm sorry, I'm trying to open up all of the containers. And y'all know Dixie Belle sticks. So sometimes opening them requires a little bit of muscle. But my son has been doing 7-on-7s this summer for football. And we've been traveling to the upstate, but more like in the Spartanburg area. So not really Florence. Okay. So I've watered everything down. I think I'm going to go with my mini. Yeah. I believe so. And grab my water bottle, y'all. It ain't broke yet, so I'm still going to use it. I know people make fun of me sometimes, but that's okay. Because it works for me. This is going to be another one that's on the blog. Just so you know, because the bottom, the veneer was completely coming up. And sometimes I'll say, remove the veneer. If it's that bad, it needs to be replaced. So you can either replace it now or it can be replaced later, whatever. However, the sides of this dresser are pretty much just the veneer. So if I were to remove it, like that would not be good. So I decided to glue and clamp it and all that kind of stuff. So that whole process, the repair process, is going to be on the blog. I know it's fun to learn about the paint process. However, we got to learn all of that other stuff too, right? Okay, give me a second and I will actually pull you in closer to make sure that you can see super well. And so right now I'm just kind of going with my brush and making sure that the whole surface is wet, not just wet in spots from a spray bottle. Oh, and then I forgot to show you guys. So as you can see, this guy like has, well, don't look at this, but aside from that, there's like no details. You've got these panels that I've been wrestling with. I don't know what to do with. Now I know, of course. But other than that, there's no like decorative details. So I used the molds, one of those molds from Prima, and made some little embellishments just to go on the side, just to give it a little bit of a decorative edge that I can use to mimic what I did on the oval. Can you? Let's see. Can you see it? This guy. So I wanted to be able to do some of that effect someplace. Therefore, I needed to create someplace, and that someplace has become that place. And that process too is going to be on the blog. So make sure that you're following me over at That Sweet Tea Life so that you can get in on the how-tos for that stuff. There's a sign up button on there. Click that and it will allow you to also sign up for newsletters where I let you know that I'm sending out all of this valuable information. I'm trying to get better at using that because, you know, Facebook can be a little bit fickle. Missing the piece, yes. Thank you, Dixie Belle. Yeah, I love this company. Seriously. If you love Dixie Belle, let them know. Let's show them some appreciation because I have worked with all kinds of brands, kinds of companies, and they do. They seriously rock. They do. I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. I probably should have soaked it ahead of time and taken away the moisture. Just, you know, started with a damp brush. And I didn't. So I'm just going to massage it real quick. Okay. I sprayed it and massaged it. FYI. What blog? Where? The blog is www.thatsweettealife.com. SWEETTEALIFE.com. So funny story. Maybe if I start talking about something completely random while I paint, then I'll continue painting. And yeah, I'm going to do most of the actual blend inside here. And let me pull you in closer. Closer, darling. Closer. Pull you in there. And I've got wires strung across the floor because normally I forget to plug things up until it's too late. And then I'm like scattering like a crazy person because everything's about to shut up. Yay. Okay, we're getting there. Good. So as I was saying, funny story, that sweet tea life was originally sweet tea refinishing. Sweet tea refinishing started because I had two buddies that also loved to do DIY stuff, and I'm going to go ahead and lay some Lucky Lavender down. And their names are Elizabeth and Ashley. And I was like, I wonder what we could do with our initials. T, E, and A. Well, it could be eat. No. It could be ate. No. T. Okay. What could we do with T? Well, I'm just carrying it down. This is more of a wash, not painting. This is probably half and half water to paint ratio. Not that I've actually mixed them together, but rather just looking at it, how much paint per water. So we were going to be sweet tea refinishing. Well, you know, life happens, and we never did anything until I finally did something one day, and I asked them if they minded if I just kept on using that phrase, sweet tea refinishing, and they said, sure, go for it. Don't you know, that same year, Somerville, which is where I'm from, where am I going? Okay, here's where we're going to start introducing the Plum Crazy. See? Plum Crazy. I'm just going to take the brush. I'm really just getting, it's the same brush, getting the little tip of it, and I'm just getting a tiny bit on there. Start little so that you can start to kind of play and figure out how far it's going to go. So, woo. So I had their blessing to use it, and I started off as sweet tea refinishing. And that year, Somerville, where I am located, suddenly became the birthplace of sweet tea. How do you become the birthplace of sweet tea? I have no idea, but somehow we decided that we were going to become the birthplace of sweet tea. We officially were named the birthplace of sweet tea. And you guys, if you look us up in the Guinness Book of World Records, sweet tea, the largest sweet tea ever created, can be found in Somerville, South Carolina. And to this day, you can take a picture with the container that had the largest amount ever of sweet tea in one container. True story. Crazy enough. So then I keep blogging and decide, you know, I'm not just going to do furniture. I wanted to branch out and like have recipes and stuff like that, which I stink at, by the way. And so I decided to make it that sweet tea life, which is, you know, you slow down a little bit. And it's kind of like that southern kind of vibe. And yeah, southern vibe. But I guess the whole overall thing is, you know, helping people to DIY a life that they love, whether it's, you know, funnies or encouragement or DIYing stuff around the house, taking what you have and in the most economical way possible, making it something that you really enjoy. Okay, so here we have started with our blend of, oh, my nose is itching, of Plum Crazy and Lavender. And see, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because as you can see, this is super pink, right? Well, now we got to start blending in. I got to hit the bottom. Sorry, y'all can't see this part, but I have to at least blend it. Start bringing in and incorporating a little bit of that amethyst. So remember the amethyst. It reminds me of Grimace. Who is Grimace? McDonald's, Grimace. Yes, that's who it reminds me of. Iris is asking about the best brushes for blending. I'll tell you, Iris, I kind of don't want to recommend a brush necessarily because it has far less to do with the brush than it does your technique and just keeping a nice moist but not too moist surface. You have to learn how to figure out what is moist enough but not too moist. And so you continue to work until it gets almost like dry enough that it's starting to actually blend in. It's a feel thing. It's a play with the paint and have fun thing. So that said, though, something that does help is having a brush that has lots of really fine bristles. This is my baby, and this is my favorite. You can find it through your Dixie Belle retailer or on the website. So scroll through and see if you can find a retailer near you. But this is my buddy. It's the flat mini. There is also an angled mini, which is actually really great. I'll grab it. Usually I actually do that for these pieces that have the little nooks and crannies because it's easier to get into those little nooks and crannies. But this one's, it's fine so far. But it's just super easy to hold. My hands don't get cramped up, and it's got a nice broad head on it. Kim, you're not watching the replay, my love. You're watching live. It's good to see you. All right, so I'm taking a tiny bit of the amethyst, and I'm going to put that in there, again, the tiniest amount. And I just kind of want to deepen this in some areas, especially in those nooks and crannies and corners. So I'm going to just kind of scrub it in there. And there is no right or wrong with this. Of course, you want to affect certain moods or have certain effects and moods whenever you are, I don't know, doing the more neutral pieces. But this is like watercolor purple. You can't get this wrong. That's why some of the more vibrant colors are the easier ones to work with. Ooh, I hear thunder. Because you don't expect as much perfection. Does that make sense? So sometimes picking up some crazy, fun, beautiful colors like the blues and the greens and the purples can help you develop because you don't expect that crisp white or perfect black or anything like that, you know, or the perfect antiquing. In all honesty, you could do the same effect using whites and some browns, and you've got an antique piece of furniture. Do you not? You do. It's just a different way to go about getting it. See? And now I've got my purple, and I could pull it if I wanted to bring some of that purple in. This is the amethyst that's kind of adding those little pops, but I kind of want to let it just rest in there. I'm going to see if I can angle you it a little bit more. Goodness gracious, that was not an earthquake, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna take that itty bitty smidgen that's on my brush. Can you even see that? And I'm just gonna place it inside there. Looks ragged, right? It's fine, blend it through. You're just gonna start pulling it in different directions. As far as like blending towards the center and stuff, what I will tell you is make sure that you're pulling your brush in all different directions. If you want just a flat ombre, that's totally fine. Just keep on going like this and it'll continue to pull it up. But if you really want a nice blend that is seamless and just cloudy, and that's what we're going for, is a really cloudy appearance, you want everything to kind of go in different directions so that you don't see like streaks of the pigments going in one way. I'm going to grab a little bit of my Plum Crazy water bottle. Now that I've got all of this nice and pretty well prettied up, I'm going to actually spray my brush, and that's because I don't want sputter to go on there and mess up what I have. So spraying my brush, and then I'm going to come over here and have some fun. I've got to keep in mind how to mimic what I have going on the other dresser. And I want to give y'all a little bit more light. Hold on one second. So while I'm having fun, I do have to kind of, you know, keep it kind of reeled in, right? There and there. Okay, that's a little bit better. It's funny, sometimes doing the videos is so counterintuitive. You think you're about to turn it so that you get more light, and you don't. And let's see, you can see right here where it started to sort of dry up. That's fine. Make sure that you have your brush ready to just kind of scrub at it a little bit. And you can reconstitute it and let it kind of go. In a minute, I'll show you how I got those smudgy kind of watercolory effects. But first we have to do this little wash, right? Yeah, I'm like looking back at the other piece and making sure that I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's easy to get fun and caught up. Spray my brush. It's crazy how far this stuff can go too. The tiniest little bit on my brush and I'm like, taking off. Sorry you can't see me. I'm hitting the bottom, just kind of bringing the pigments up. Same as up here. Okay. So I'm gonna let that dry. One thing I will say is before you blend, personally, what I like to do is whenever I do my base color, which is the Lucky Lavender on this one, I let that bad boy sit overnight if I can. Reason being is because even if it's dry, it may not have bit into the surface. And so if I get a little bit overzealous with my blending and watering and stuff, I could end up scrubbing it away and pulling it away from the surface if it hasn't quite got that bite yet. So keep that in mind. If you get frustrated and see, oh my gosh, it's coming away, I didn't prep good enough or whatever, think about how long it's been sitting there. If it hasn't been sitting like maybe overnight, depending on your conditions, it may simply have not bit into the surface yet, even if it is dry. Like that's a whole different kind of process. So give yourself a little bit of grace. All right. Pulling those up. I want to pull this away because it's too dark right there. Somebody was asking about, you know, getting it blended right. And see, once again, like one of those things is simply knowing it's feel. So much of it is feel. Sorry, big head. Okay. I got to get in that little nook and cranny. All right, I'm going to come back over here. Do the same thing. And I'm just really washing the Plum Crazy over at this point. Yay! Denise loves her new Dixie Belle brush. I'm glad. Hello, Canada. Thank you, Connie. It's good to see you. Phoenix. Am I going to add any moldings or transfers? So I do have the one mold here. Transfer-wise, there will be the adhesive transfer. I'll grab that for you guys so you know what I'm talking about. I did a video showing exactly how it works because honestly, like I'd never even seen this one before. It's not an image transfer, it's an adhesive transfer. Let me finish this little wash here and I'll show you what it is. But I did a whole video dedicated, it's not even alive, it's no fluff, no nothing, but it's dedicated to showing you how to use the adhesive transfers and how they're different from a regular transfer. All right, so there you go. We'll let that dry for a second. Hopefully we can come back to it and I can show you the watercolor style effect. All right, and okay, here we go, I think. Yes, so Prima's also got the adhesive transfers. And this one is Spring Radiance. Is this is not the same one that I used. Or did I? Actually, yes, this is the same one I used. It's throwing me off because they got purple butterflies. But so the transfer itself goes on and it's sticky. So it's basically like setting size or glue that's in the shape of your transfer. And you take it, and y'all, if you've ever wanted to gold leaf, but you're intimidated by the process or just intimidated by the mess, which I was totally intimidated by the mess. They have got the decor foil. And I'm sorry, you can't find this on the Dixie Belle website. You're going to have to find a retailer, a premium retailer to get them. But it comes in these sheets, and literally you stick it on there and pull it away, and you're left with the clear plastic. I'll show you where I used some of it. Here you go. Ooh. There. So you can see, like, this was a butterfly, and I stuck it on there, and the gold stays on the piece, and this plastic comes away. And you just keep on re-sticking until all your adhesive is colored in that foil, and it comes in all kinds of awesome colors. And there's no mess, and there's no waste, and it was fantastic. Thank you. I love the butterflies too, and it's going in a sweet little girl's room, a baby girl. So I was really excited about that. I'm trying to go through the comments and make sure I haven't missed anything significant. Okay, so la la la. Now we kind of want to add a little bit of the purple in at the bottom. I just saved myself, y'all. I was gonna go on to something else, but we need to add some purple because it's a little bit too bland down here. We got some purple up here, but nothing really down there. So I'm gonna spray. Okay, and then, and I hate this, but so I'm probably gonna have to address that at some point. Hopefully not messing up my finish. But you can see it's still a little bit warped, but all of this was completely separated before. All right, I'm gonna grab a tiny, tiny bit. And see, whenever you have that base coat of the lavender, like blending over it becomes such an easy thing to do. So easy. All right, so I've got this is Amethyst on my brush. I'm gonna lay it. And this is where I can show you a little bit of the, like, just go in different directions. So I've gone horizontal, and now I'm gonna pull it vertical. A little tip, whenever you pull it across an edge like this, you see that little white, not white, but super light area because of the way the brush hits it. Go midway down and just kind of fan it back down toward the edge, and it adds the color back in. Okay, so I've gone up and down. Now I'm going to go horizontal again. And up and down. And horizontal. And so you just keep on working it in different directions until you get it where you want it. I'm going to grab a little bit of my pink, the Plum Crazy, and add that back in over here. Wet my brush, and what I've done is whenever you start blending in an area that's hit an area that's already dried, you're probably going to have to go ahead and just work it all the way through again. So I'll re-wet everything. That way I can get a consistent blend. Don't freak out when that happens. It's going to happen because you're going to say, oh, that's not quite right. And you're going to come back to it and want to add a little bit more color. But then it's just going to disturb what's already settled and basically make it want to pull up. That's fine. It happens. So you wet everything down, add a little bit more paint, and keep going. You can see this area, that's where like it was pink, the Plum Crazy, and then it pulled up. Again, it's fine. Just continue to work it. And like the one person was saying, you know, the best brush, this is another one of those areas where it's less about best brush and more about just keeping it moist, figuring out, you know, how to get it wet, but not too wet. And hit the diagonal. And then if it's too saturated, which it's not, but I wanted to show you, keep a really big flat, like dry brush on hand that you can start to move the paint around and remove moisture. That also helps. I don't like the way it's acting in these areas, so I think I'm going to use some of my purple to really deepen it. Haha. You guys, I promise you, like sometimes things that seem like issues and errors can be the most wonderful blessings in your art. They give you the opportunity to kind of get creative and go in a direction that you would have never thought of before. Kind of just like life. Yay. Okay, so I like this. This is a little bit more dramatic and fun. All right, so I'm going to bring you back to the top. And now we're going to work on getting some of the splotches right there. So as you can see, I'm going to bring you up closer to the other piece. Close your eyes. You might get kind of dizzy. All right, so there you go. You can see right here where it's kind of like a watercolory style effect. I'm trying to get the light to where it wants to actually look nice with us. But you can see a streak of the purple and some, or the pink and some purple, more purple down here. And so it's like a layered, splotchy kind of watercolor. So that's what we're going to do now up here. And my favorite tool for that are makeup brushes. Who knew, right? I used to think that was the silliest idea. Why would somebody use a makeup brush? Y'all, these things are phenomenal. How will you plan to repair the veneer that is separating? So my plan for that is to take a sharp edge, slice into the areas that have the bubble, just to the side of it, not the middle, but the actual side, and then take a syringe and inject a little bit of wood glue, wipe away the excess, and clamp it down. One board on the inside, one board on the outside, clamp to tighten it all down and let it do its thing. I may have to end up repainting this side over here. It is what it is. Par for the course, right? Okay, so watercolor effect. I'm going to take my makeup brush, and you can imagine this for like swipes that create flowers or leaves or trees, whatever you can think of. And you can always do the watercolor part and then come back in and add details, all of that good stuff. Who is it? Carolyn Muncie, Ransom Relics. Watch her and her techniques and stuff. She's awesome. I love watching how she can create so much out of nothingness and twirl the little brush and create vines. But this is going to give you a slightly translucent kind of look for adding some color and fun to your piece. And so my wet makeup brush, I take it, and let's see if you can actually see that, but just the very, very tippies have got a little bit of paint on them. And so I'm going to take it, and then I'm just going to kind of smoosh it and pull it. See? And then I'm going to smoosh it down here and pull it across. And so it's mostly transparent. I can still see the pink kind of coming through it. I'm going to bring that down. And then, again, I added a little bit more to my brush. And even in this, I'm going to smoosh it and pull it to add a layer over that. I'm going to grab some of the pink and smoosh it right there. And then so again, that lavender and that wash of the Plum Crazy, it just becomes the base to some of this. You can kind of start to dab, add a little bit of interest and marbling type effect, make it warble. You can take a dry brush and again, grab just the tiniest little bit. So it's just on the tips. And then sometimes I'll go in like where the purple is or at the edge, and I'll just bloop, 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 bloop. Twist your brush, change it around, make sure it's not exactly the same, but it just adds a little bit of texture. Another thing you could do is a little tappy tap method. So you take it and then just, and I hardly have enough on there to do anything, so I don't even know if you can see it, but it adds just like little splatters. Have I ever tried small sharp needles on your syringe to inject the glue so that you don't have to slice the veneer? I just don't want to break the veneer, so I prefer to slice it. That way you can kind of work with the wood grain, and so you just use the sharp edge, go down with the grain, and use it. It kind of blends in. Yeah. Betty says it's still good to slice it just a little because of the bubbles. It helps to alleviate some of the pressure. If there's air trapped, it lets it out. If you need to, you can kind of create a little bit of space, which might be what it needs because it's swelled up over time. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to continue to add layers. Now remember, if you want to start seeing the colors lay on top of each other and layer, like you do in watercolor paintings, do a color, come all the way down in different areas, then come back with another color or another layer of the same color to kind of continue the effect. Make sure your brush is nice and wet as you're going. And you can't even see what I'm doing, can you? That's fine. I can tilt you down. Nope. See, I'm still working down there. And I'll keep going. Try to be as random as you can. It's kind of hard to. We have our rhythms. I'm grabbing a tiny bit of the pink. Again, just the tops of the bristles. And start up here. Hit the edge and kind of twist the brush. Because in some places, I really want the pigments to kind of collect and do their little thing. So they're a little bit more heavy in some areas, and in some areas they're just not. Sorry, I keep on having to reach over you guys. I could just pick up the bar or the jar, couldn't I? I'm gonna come back up here. I don't know if you can see it. But now that those little spots have dried a little bit, I kind of just wanna play with them. And so if you add the water from your brush on them, you can kind of get them to warble a little bit so they're not quite so definite. And it's just a really pretty soft effect. And then I make sure I do the whole area so it doesn't look like I was just targeting those guys. And what's nice about the makeup brushes is just the bristles are so incredibly fine. that it just, yeah, it helps a lot. I'm gonna grab a little bit of the pink, the Plum Crazy, and then just kind of lay it heavier right there. Leave a little collection. That's what we'll call those. Leave a collection, a deposit. Lucky Lavender, and then we've got Amethyst is the deeper color of purple, and then we've got Plum Crazy is the more pinky color. Bay, I think you just asked a question. Give me 1 second, I'll get to you. Kind of pouncing and dragging and pouncing and dragging and just variating everything. I'm going to grab a little bit of purple, Plum Crazy, or no, Amethyst. I'm going to grab some of the Amethyst and leave a deposit right there. There we go. You kind of want to blend it out at the edges in some areas and then just kind of allow it to rest and collect in other areas. Just spray down there to let that model a little bit. I didn't want to spray up here because then I'm going to disturb all of that. But yeah. This is a great way to just kind of play and add a little bit of interest and fun. And I'm going to grab a tiny bit on the tips of my dry brush. Remember, for the stippling effect, it's better if you go with the dry brush. And then I'm going to go down here. Can you see me? And again, some of the areas where it transitioned, or maybe an area where there's a saturated amount of purple. Those are good areas. I'm going to kind of leave that stipple. And now I've got a wet brush. I'm just going to kind of hit over it. And kind of warbles it a little bit. Models it. I don't know. Is that the words that we want to use? All right. So that adds interest to those areas that are otherwise a little bit plain. There you go. Watercolor. Boom. Will I go over it with a dry brush? No. Not those. I think I will leave those alone. And so now I've got these guys, and I want to continue with some of the Plum Crazy. And what time is it? Yeah, we're getting close to time, so I'm going to show you this. And this is where we're just kind of hitting it with highlights. So you've got the details that you really want to bring out. I probably, yeah. I'm going to go back to my mini. And just kind of force in a little bit of the paint. And I'm going to bring you guys over here so you can see it better. All right, so how's your screen? There we go. All right, so we are going in, going over the whole thing with just the wash of the Plum Crazy. And then it starts to become more about highlighting. So, to see if I can find my artist brush. I'm probably going to have to move something, which I didn't want to have to do. So I'm going to grab the Golden Years. Remember, golden years, not golden rod. Yep, hold on one second. La la la, la la la, la la. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, I just touched it. Y'all, how many times have I done that? How many times have you done that? That's okay. Bloop, 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 gone. Okay. All right, so now we want to play a little bit more. I'm going to grab some golden years. And this is where it gets a little bit scary, but it's so fun. All right. It's been a little while since I opened this one. And I'm going to continue to turn you and this because I am determined to get your lighting a little bit better. Yay, success. Okay, so you can see where some of the Plum Crazy has settled in there very naturally, which is great. That's exactly what we want to have happen. Now I'm going to take a small, actually this is an artist brush. This isn't a makeup brush. This is like one of the kits that I've, or is it? Maybe it is a makeup brush. I lie, it is a makeup brush. I used a pack of artist brushes off of Amazon as well, so I thought it might be that. Okay, so water on the brush and a little bit of the golden years, and we're just going to kind of go right to the inside and begin to have some fun in there. And again, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, don't stress about where you're going to put it in, like, I don't know, if you put too much, because then you kind of come in with your brush and go back over it again and get rid of any excess that kind of goes too far out or something. It's all repairable if you need it to be. And I'll show you now. Typically, I would have waited for it to dry, and then whenever it's dry and it's like the very last thing that you do to add a little bit of interest, a palette knife, and then just kind of rest it in there. So this is going to be less watery and more bam kind of highlight. See? And again, it just adds a little bit more fun. I'm going to grab my little makeup brush and push it in there to kind of smooth that out a little bit. I don't want to be overzealous. And then we've got the Gulf. I've been saying in the Gulf. The Gulf. And with the Gulf, we're going to start highlighting those flowers. Oh, this paint is so thick. Goodness gracious. So I've cleaned off my little artist brush. I've got a little bit of the Gulf on there. And so now I'm just going to kind of and see, we don't have to be perfect with this because in the end, it's going to be distressed. And we're also going to do that layer of the diamond dust wax. So it's just about kind of introducing the color and getting it in there as part of the whole layering system. And go to the very tippy top and brush a little bit of it away. Which looks like a whole hot mess, right? And again, I just smudged it. But in the end, that guy gets distressed, And you keep playing with those colors and just kind of layering them and adding the diamond dust. And you end up with that. And it's super pretty. All right, guys. So now you're able to see like the little bits and pieces that make up the whole process and what the end result looks like. So let me see if I have any other questions that I need to hit. Oh gosh. Hey, Malia. Oh, diamond, I think, is definitely one of the ones to have. It's this very shimmery, not too glittery, but just a subtle shimmer, and it's got like this bluey, yellowy, mixy kind of opalescent type thing happening. It's really pretty. Betty, it probably got pixelated because I moved the device, so it's probably catching up. Hopefully you're good by now. Yes, the Gulf is what I hit the flowers with. Hello, Ontario, Ohio. Okay, so I hope I was able to give y'all a good bit of information in one little compact place. I've tried to be a little bit less fluff and more about, you know, giving you guys what you need, the information, the knowledge. So thank y'all. All right. Trying to make sure. That we have nothing else happening. As I have phone calls coming in on my computer. Sorry, guys. Can you show? You know what? Yes, that's what we'll end with. I will back up and show you how I think I just disturbed some bees. Yo, holy cruddy doodle. Let's take a look at what the whole completed piece looks like. Oh my gosh, they're buzzing everywhere. Okay. So in the end, this is going to look like it. I'm going to push this over. I don't want it to be in the sun. There we go. Okay. So there you go. You can see how this is matching up to look like this. The inner panels are going to be more like these. And that's where it's going to be just the Lucky Lavender as well as the gold leaf transfers. But yeah, there you have it. Anywhere that I find like little recesses, like where I did here, that's where the golden years is going to lay, kind of like inside those flowers, and probably up here in these little grooves. So there you have it, guys. Is that enough of a view of how it looks? Yay. Yes, I'm trying to be more to the point. I know, because like I have a hard time hanging out to watch so much. So yeah. Yes. Well, this is for a little baby. Hopefully she appreciates it over the years. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I am going to let you have the rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope that the headphones and the audio and everything ended up working out well this time. I know last time was really rough. So thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, retailers, drop your pages. We would love to be able to see y'all connect and where you're tuning in from. So everybody, your locations, retailers, your place and your locations. And yeah, if you want to follow more of my work, head over to Thea at That Sweet Tea Life. That's my business page. You can also find me at www.thatsweettealife.com. And if you click the sign up button on my Facebook page, that will send you over to sign up for newsletters so that you get all of my blogs sent to your inbox, and it makes everything super easy. I try to get extra information there that not everybody knows about, so it's a little bit more fun. All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see what y'all are creating. So go over to the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiasts page and be sure to share your stuff there as you're working on it, especially if you're trying this kind of stuff out. I want to see it. So y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.